What's up gears, welcome back to the channel and episode number 3 of my newest series called How I Would Improve. Today's video will cover the class changes I thought of that would improve each of the tank classes. We will be looking at some small improvements and additions I've personally thought up, along with some more custom card designs. Since rumours of Gears 6 and Gears Collection seem to be stirring once again, I just want these kinds of videos to ramp up some discussion and creativity on what can be done to improve Horde, class systems and other such elements, hopefully improving on it in future Gears titles. Once again though, nothing is going to become of these videos or ideas. I have no affiliation with the coalition and content for Gears 5 has basically stopped. These videos aim to start a discussion or serve as inspiration for future Gears titles. These ideas are my own, that's it. You may have your own ideas, but let's not waste any more time and kick this video off with the anchor. As a rough guide, I've limited myself to 4 ideas per class, so as not to load any single one. These concepts aim to flesh out parts of each class that are a little lacking. We will cover my anchor ideas first and work down the list. Snub Smuggler. Start with a snub pistol and carry 40 to 115% extra ammo. Everyone who has played the anchor obviously knows you start with the bolt-up pistol and you decimate enemies with such a simple tool. But what if a card choice would let you start with a different pistol, giving some level of customization to the anchor class? The existing Bloody Shot card works with all pistols, so this could essentially allow you to use your preferred pistol whenever you want. Talon Treasure. Start with a Talon pistol and carry 40 to 115% extra ammo. Just like the previous card I suggested, giving you the same effect and allowing you to start with a Talon pistol instead. I would suggest that a card like this be unlocked early on and definitely allows for that additional customization on the anchor. Pistol Master. Deal 10 to 60% extra damage and 5 to 30% extra active effects with all pistols. Since no other class really gets any particular buffs to pistols, and the anchor seemed to be the ideal candidate, this card would be more beneficial than something like Custom Boom Shot since it does affect 3 different weapons, but you can only ever wield one at a time. The anchor can deal a lot of damage with the Bloody Shot skill card, but this would just be an alternate to that. Double up. Whilst barrier is active, you can dual wield your pistol, doubling the magazine capacity and fire rate. Recoil reduction and reload speed are both increased by 0 to 50% as well. Okay, now dual wielding seems like a weird idea, but if any of you played Beast Mode in Gears of War 3, then you might remember that the armoured Cantus used to dual wield Gorgon pistols, so it's not completely unheard of for Gears. Pair this concept with some existing cards to go berserk while you have your shield and 2 pistols to devastate your enemies. And as you can tell, I want to double down on the pistol specialty that the anchor already seems to be very settled in. Time to move on to our next tank class, the Brawler. My first concept for the Brawler is Incendiary Master. Incendiary grenades deal 20 to 120% more damage and have a 10 to 60% larger area of effect. These grenades were a completely missed opportunity for the Brawler, and this card would aim to fix that. Acting similar to the grenade proficiency skill card that the Slugger has, but targeting the incendiary grenade only. Introducing this as a card leans more into the burning and incendiary damage that the Brawler already seems to be associated with. Napalm. Active rounds with explosives have a 10 to 50% chance to leave a burning area on the ground for 10 seconds. Once again leaning into burning damage once more for the Brawler, but hoping to fill a gap within the class's arsenal. Right now I feel the Brawler has no need to use explosive weapons like the Torque Bow, Boom Shot or Drop Shot, so Napalm is my idea to change that. The area of effect doesn't need to be huge, about the same size as incendiary grenades, just allowing more weapon choices on this class. Raging Fire. Getting kills with fire or burn damage increases your burn by 25 to 50% up to a maximum of 200% for 15 seconds. Both the Demo and Blade Master have existing versions of this card in one way or another. Giving the Brawler its own version of stacking damage wouldn't be too overpowered, but does give the class an alternate to the Pyromaniac card and a very good damage boost when this procs. Quick Escape. Movement speed is increased by 15 to 40% whilst in Venom. The Brawler, much like other classes, does not have an escape specific card. What I propose with Quick Escape would aim to mimic what the Striker can already achieve with its existing passive. Since both classes are capable of melee builds, this would be situational, but balanced in my opinion. Jumping over to our next class, the Gunner. I've got more concepts that I've thought of, starting with Venom Armor. You and your teammates gain 5 to 30% damage resistance against Venom. The Gunner is all about tanking as much damage as possible, and no class currently has any kind of resistance to Venom damage, so that's where this card's concept was born. This wouldn't be very useful for every escape hive, but does aim to give us alternate playstyles with already existing classes and just throws a new kind of idea out there. Buzzkiller. Gain 10 to 60% extra damage and 5 to 30% extra active effects with the Buzzkill. Once again, another simple addition since no class specialises in the Buzzkill and the Gunner already has a slight affinity for heavy weapons, so this just kinda helps to fit in with the class's playstyle. This concept weirdly works only for the Buzzkill as well, since it is the only heavy weapon that can be reloaded per se. Whilst I am writing this script, I genuinely have no idea what the active effect is for the Buzzkill, but I'll assume faster projectile speed or more bounces, but I might look into this for a future video. Shoot Me. Upon activating your reflective shell, taunt enemies within 10 to 25 meters for 3 seconds. Currently the Gunner does have a skill card that will taunt enemies that you land headshots on. Shoot Me aims to fill a gap that I feel has been missing from all tank classes with the ability to taunt all surrounding enemies at once. The range for this card could get quite large, but with such a short duration I feel this wouldn't be too busted. Alternatively, the radius could be reduced to say 10 meters, but have the duration being increased as the card levels up instead. Reinforcing Aura. Fortifications within 15 meters gain 20 to 40% damage resistance. Why should a tank only provide buffs and tank for other players? I'm not sure, but this concept aims to have fortifications also benefit from the Gunner, whilst fitting in with the Gunner's existing playstyle. Some engineers do have a similar card to this, but that is to be expected, so the Gunner seemed like a good candidate for having a similar effect whilst not being an engineer. The last thing I would change on the Gunner isn't necessarily an extra skill card, but it is the Chain Gun Ammo Regen perk. I would update this to be a heavy weapon ammo regeneration perk instead. The fact that this perk is currently the way it is and doesn't include all heavy weapons just seems to baffle me. There is a big emphasis on heavy weapons as the Gunner, but this perk definitely limits this synergy. A small quality of life change that I think would be amazing for the Gunner. The Pilot is our 4th tank class, and I've got more concepts for this class, starting with Big Brother. Upon exiting your Silverback, it will set into defense mode and act as a sentry for the remaining duration and deal 0 to 50% extra damage. Having an ultimate that can become a mobile sentry with any heavy weapon of your choice sounds like a great idea. You could even use this as a piece of mobile cover, since you can sit against the back of the Silverback in defense mode, giving you an extra bit of cover that is also willing to defend you. I don't really see a downside to a concept like this. Double Up. Equip the same weapon on both Silverback slots and deal 5 to 30% extra damage. As it stands, whenever you pick your Silverback weapons on the Pilot, no single perk or card will increase their damage. Double Up serves 2 purposes: to double your amount of weaponry, useful for when you only choose one weapon for your Silverback. It would also allow all weapons to do even more damage. The fact that this card also shares a name with an anchor concept was a complete mistake, but we're not too worried about the names of these since they won't be implemented. These are just ideas of my own. Inspiration. Teammates within 10 meters of your Silverback gain 5 to 30% extra damage and damage resistance. Gears has a bunch of these cards already, usually aimed at some sort of synergy between 2 specific classes. Inspiration does aim to include all classes, granting some extra damage resistance and damage for any player that stays near the Silverback, giving the Pilot's ultimate more of a supporting role on top of the tremendous damage it already does. Prototype Silverback increases the health of the Silverback by 20 to 120%. A simple addition for the Pilot, making the ultimate tankier than it already is. The Silverback can be unlucky enough to be one shot at higher difficulties, and since there isn't much counterplay to being one hit, having the opportunity to more than double your health is an easy fix. This wouldn't always be necessary, but does have a place when enemies have the mutator on for dealing 3 times damage. Just like the gunner, the last thing I would change on the pilot is the initiator skill card. Currently this card only works on full health enemies. Instead I would change this to have enemies damaged with heavy weapons. Taunting enemies as a tank is quite normal, but the pilot's taunt only works on enemies with full health. To me, this is by far the weakest taunt in the entire game, so the suggestion of changing it to taunting enemies damaged by heavy weapons would be a nice fix for this. This sort of change would allow the pilot to be a more effective tank, especially since heavy weapons are utilised constantly whilst in the silverback. Let's jump over to our final class, the veteran. First concept I thought of for this class was Bloody Venom. All rifles deal 5 to 30% bleeding damage while stood in the Venom or Ash. With the veteran being such a rifle specialist, I struggled to think of an escape specific card for this class. Eventually I settled on giving the class the ability to deal bleeding damage, but only when standing in Venom. This would make the veteran even more powerful in most hives if things start to get a little bit intense. It would also allow the veteran to do some damage over time, since every other tank class currently has a bleeding effect of their own. Rapid fire. Fire rate increased by 10 to 25% when using assault rifles. I did want to avoid giving the veteran even more damage cards, so having an increased fire rate was a way to indirectly increase the potential damage of the veteran. No classes currently have any card like this, so it would be a nice quality of life card that is a little bit different. Currently we have both the Retro Lance and Claw that have the slowest fire rates, and this card would be more beneficial to weapons like those. Enemy arms. Deal 5 to 30% extra damage and increased active effects with the Hammer Burst and Claw. The Tactician and Blade Master have weapon buffs just like this, and it seems weird that the veteran can't optimise these rifles itself. The buff for both weapons is smaller but included on the same card, and would probably be better used in Escape. Other classes can already make use of these weapons and in more situations. It's a simple idea but gives the veteran more options. Smoke screen. Smoke grenades will slow enemies by 10 to 60%. This is basically a carbon copy of the smoke grenade mod skill card I proposed in my How I Would Improve Promotional Classes video. Hear me out though, the veteran has 0 crowd control right now, the class spawns with smoke grenades, and even though it is the same effect, only the Brawler is able to slow enemies in game right now. It's a small buff, but a good one, which is why I am recommending it again. So there we have it, 20 different card designs and concepts that I believe would improve the tank classes in Gears 5, as well as a couple of little extra bits thrown in there as well. You most likely have ideas of your own, so make sure you leave a comment down below and let's get some discussion going on class ideas. Since making a return to YouTube those few months ago, I've avoided asking you guys to subscribe and like until I knew I could get back into the swing of things, so if you haven't already, leave me a like if you like this video, or a dislike if you didn't. Subscribing to the channel would be massively appreciated, and when I upload my next episode in How I Would Improve, this will be pushed to your subscription feed. That is it for this installment, and if you didn't see where this series started, then I'll be leaving a link in the cards to the episode that kicked this series off. As always, Gears, take it easy, and I will catch you in the next one.